Episode of the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast is brought to you by pmtlifestyle.com. Authentic Muay Thai lifestyle by Pu'u. Definitely go check out the website at pmtlifestyle.com for some awesome lifestyle merchandise. That's for those of you out there either involved in Muay Thai, looking at getting involved in Muay Thai, and embrace a healthier lifestyle to live the life of the Nok Muay. Go check it out.
Back here with Bob Karmel on a Sunday. Catching up, we had just went over to Chomby's, grabbed some food. Classic place. Thanks for showing me that place too.
Like on the street?
Yeah. I know what I thought it was just bagels. So, but it's like New York style bagel place.
Style deli.
Bakery. Yeah. So, we're just talking a little bit about you're talking about Vin. He was on the podcast. He's talking about selling his lobsters and.
Yeah, I remember I didn't ever sell like lobster. I wanted to buy a box, right? But I didn't know I was going to do like 12 lobsters. 12 lobsters at a time. But I remember selling lobsters, and I think I told everybody in the gym, lobsters, hit up Vin.
Go support him.
Support Vin's lobster business. So I know it's off the subject.
Yeah.
But many, many moons ago when I was living in South Texas, we took a truckload of shrimp from Texas to Buffalo, New York, where I used to live.
From Texas to New York?
Yeah, we drove them up, all iced up and everything. I knew some guys with a shrimp boat, right? And we drove them up to Buffalo, New York, set up on a street corner, and we sold, I forget how many pounds of shrimp in one afternoon. And then stayed at my mom's house and then drove back to Texas.
Shit.
Selling shrimp.
When was that?
Let's see, I got out of college in 77, so and that'd be 78, 79.
Shit. Man, you are old. Yeah. Last time we were on here, you were talking about how you ended up going to jail because you were got all your shit out of that gym that you were working at in Philadelphia, correct?
Right.
And you locked the guy up in the
kidnapping, theft.
Yeah.
Receiving stolen property.
And everybody thought you were a gangster and you're a made man because you were getting all these meals from the police officers and stuff like that in there.
Almost hooked up with everybody. So we're about ready to move to Arizona.
Yeah.
So I made a couple of trips to Arizona. Construction for the Fairtex camp is underway. Plans are all approved. It's almost done. So it's time to pack it up into the car and drive to Arizona. So loaded everything up into my my Daytona. I had a Daytona Shelby back in those days. Loaded up all my stuff like the Beverly Hillbillies and headed to
on top of the truck and everything.
Not quite that much, but headed to Arizona. And the wife was staying in Philadelphia for a little while longer, trying to finish selling the house off, and she was down later. So we drive down to Arizona. So I think the drive took me 3 days. And it was not cool because I lived on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. I had lived in Texas, but I didn't ever go in between all that stuff. So America's a beautiful country with a lot of stuff to see.
Yeah, big country. For I think a lot of people that listen from Europe, Asia. I don't think they really kind of grasp Arizona, California. That's far. Arizona, Texas, much further. Arizona, New York, that's
Philadelphia, Arizona, 1,600 miles, 1,500 miles.
Yeah, that's driving all the way across Europe. Yeah.
And it's not only just the long drive. You're going from East Coast, which is very green, which has stuff growing in it, but it's all cactus and shit like that, So it's kind of a lot of big change going on. And I don't know why I was so smart to do this in August, because August is kind of nice on the East Coast, but here in Arizona, it's hot as fuck. So halfway to Arizona, the air conditioner shits in my car. So
where were you?
I don't remember where it was. I was in Texas or something. So the air conditioning goes out, and so I got T-tops on the Daytona.
Those T-tops.
So you don't know what T-tops are?
Well, maybe I do, but I don't know what they're called.
So the glass windows on your roof come out, and you can put them in the trunk, and you're kind of like half convertible.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So we take the T-tops off, and we're cruising, and it's not so bad. And I go through Sedona and come down into the valley, and now it's fucking like 112 degrees, 113 degrees, and it is like Africa hot. So I make it to Phoenix, and I'm living in a motel.
Is it
Mesa?
Mesa.
And we're finishing up stuff on the camp. So the camp is just about done. We ordered a bunch of equipment. We ordered 2 boxing rings. We ordered all this stuff. And we're going over the last minute plans and mapping out where we're putting the equipment and everything, and realize the gym is too small. The training area in the gym's too small.
So like because you had the ring kind of in the center, right?
The rings were in the center,
Yeah.
and there wasn't enough floor space to do floor space and heavy bags. So we had to add on a few thousand square feet.
When you say add on, is it like you built out the building more? Or?
Yeah, we built out the building more. So just imagine a rectangle, and you got to add another rectangle to the rectangle. So we had to add on a whole section, and we set up this beautiful wooden beam to hang heavy bags on, and we could fit 2 boxing rings. We had overhead lighting to do shows in this facility. So the training area on one side, again, imagine a rectangle. 3 of those sides were glass walls with glass sliding doors that can open up, so it would be like open air training. The back wall was solid brick or whatever it is. But that's the side that faced west. So when the sun sets in the afternoon, you got the brick wall blocking the blinding rays of the sun in Arizona.
Yeah, they're not going into the ring.
And what we did was, in that brick wall, we put 2 exhaust fans. Okay, so these 2 giant fans that went in reverse. So if you opened up the glass doors and turned this fan on, it would suck in cool air from the outside, pull it across the training area, and suck it out the back of the training area.
So like almost like a wind tunnel, almost.
Almost a wind tunnel. And I'll tell you about the wind tunnel, because we did make a wind tunnel. So we made these exhaust fans so they could be open air training, kind of like Thailand. Okay, but Arizona is hot, seriously hot, not different than Thailand.
Yeah, no humidity, just dry as hell.
It's burning,
Yeah.
So maybe not the best idea, but Philip Wong and myself, we had no idea how hot it was here.
So was that like your first summer, like where it was like 112 like that?
I had not been here in the summer, and I don't think Philip had either. So we had been here in November and December, looking at stuff and it's nice.
It's beautiful, man. This is perfect.
So I don't think we really wrapped our brains around how hot it gets, how hot the sun gets. Like we talked about that movie where she's hanging onto the
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2, and she's just burning up.
Yeah.
That's the way it is outside right now.
Yeah.
It's like that right now outside. So anyway, so we had to expand it. We put those fans in, and we put swamp coolers in. If you don't know what a swamp cooler is, it's kind of like this recirculating air that goes through these filters that get water on them. So it's evaporative cooling. So the construction guys told us it's a good thing to do, and they do that at a lot of buildings here, but it works most of the year. But when it gets humid out, monsoon season, it doesn't work. It sucks. So we had to expand the gym. So we get the gym all expanded. We figured out the equipment. We have a cooling system set up. The dorm rooms had swamp coolers in them at the time.
Oh.
The only thing that had air conditioning was my office and Philip's office. Which was a big mistake, which we had to correct later.
Yeah.
So and we got the kitchen set up. We got the jacuzzi set up. We got the sauna all ready to go. Now it's time to Thailand and go get the boys. So I fly out to Bangkok, go back out to the Fairtex camp. And I think I'm out there for about 3 weeks, do a little training. We did some promotional stuff out there where we videoed everybody training, and working, and Philip had a TV crew come out and video it all.
They made a video, you're saying, that like of you where they made it seem like you were the trainer or something like that, right?
Yeah, so they made me look like the trainer, which was okay, you know, and they made Ganyao act like a fighter, right? He was dying during this whole thing, but they made him keep going. And if you could hear what was going on in the background, because everybody's yelling, Ganyao, keep going, keep going. And I think I found footage of it. I'll give it to Jonathan.
Yeah.
So we get out there, and we're getting everything ready to bring Ganyao, Bunkerd, Sakasam, and Bunkerd, Sakasam, Ganyao. I think just the 3 guys came in first. Okay. So we're getting ready to come back, and Philip was gone. Philip was in Arizona, and we're getting ready to have a little adios party the night before we go. So I had been out, and I had never really been out socially with the boys. I mean, we've been out to dinner and stuff.
Fights.
Yeah, we've been out to sukiyaki and stuff like that. We used to go out to eat, but we never went out like partying with those guys. Okay. So they take me to this nightclub restaurant thing that's like this bungalow. It's built in water, above water. You have to walk down this drawbridge to get into it.
Yeah.
And they got music, and they got food, and we got a big table full of all the Fairtex fighters and stuff. And they're showing me a good time, okay, which was a blast. So, you know, we're sitting there drinking and enjoying all the things there are to enjoy in Thailand.
Yeah.
And I don't know what time it started, but about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, Apide shows up, and all of a sudden the tone gets very serious, and those guys' wives are up on the road waiting for them because they're now all drunk as shit and not spending their last moments at home with their wives.
Yeah, they even have kids at the time too. Yeah, they had kids, family. So Appy Day was like the head trainer at Fairtex at the time.
He was the head trainer.
And just to give everybody context, who might be listening, it's Fairtex Bangplee. They later on moved over to Pattaya. They had boats for a while and stuff. So this is all in the Bangkok Bangplee location too. So wives are over there.
Yeah. So Appy Day is talking to them in Thai, and I have no idea what he's saying, but I think he said, "Hey dudes, your old ladies are out here and they're pissed off as shit because you're here drinking and partying and not home, and you guys have to fly out in 3 hours. You better get back to the camp and get in the cars." So we get up to leave, and I was the first one across the drawbridge, and all their wives were looking at me like I am Satan. And
this farang bringing our men.
Like this is all my fault. Yeah. Like I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Nobody's speaking English or anything. Like I know what's going on. And then those guys come across, and you never saw the toughest guys in the world get so humbled by their wives. You know, it's almost like they were like the wives were grabbing them by their earlobe and pulling them into the car. And we get back to the camp just in enough time to throw a bucket of water over your head, throw your shit in a bag, and start heading to the airport because, you know, traffic in Thailand takes forever. And that's basically what we do. So
this is back in the 90s, too, where the travel was different. You couldn't check in online and do all that stuff.
No online.
So you go in person.
You got to do it for real.
Yeah.
And so we get to the airport. We're still drunk. I was still drunk. Boom Curb was drunk. Sakasam, not so drunk. He doesn't drink really very much. Ganyao was a mess. Boom Curb was a mess. And somehow we get everybody herded up. We get on to the first flight. We fly to Tokyo. And it was the old Tokyo airport for you older guys. It was a horrible airport, one big circle hub. And we get there, and we're waiting for our flight to the States. And Bunkerd starts getting sick.
Like from being hungover, essentially.
Like hungover, you know, no
flight,
no nothing.
Yeah.
And he goes into the men's room there and starts puking. But he just got no filter, and he's puking, and it's so loud you can hear him puking outside. And we're all kind of laughing. We're hysterical laughing, and you can hear him. And it's echoing through the whole airport.
A Japanese airport, so everybody's pretending like nothing's happening.
Yeah. And we're like laughing our asses off. And we finally get in a plane and we fly to Arizona. And we get to Arizona and Philip comes to pick the guys up, and they get their asses chewed out again by Philip because the wives have called him already and told him that they were out partying and stuff. And so they get their asses chewed out again. And we finally arrive at the camp, and here we are ready to put the place together.
Mm.
So, that's our first arrival into Arizona. It's all hungover, no sleep.
Hot as shit.
And everything for those guys is extremely different. They've never seen cactuses and, the way things look here.
America. Yeah, how everything is. Not only it being desert place, but also just like being in the United States. Completely different culture from where they were at.
We drive on the other side of the street, everything's
different language, people look different, the laws are different. And there, because Bangplee was kind of out in the sticks a little bit too, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was very on the sticks.
Yeah, because it was very much still like swamp. It wasn't as built up Bangkok like people know it today. So it's a big change for them, obviously.
And the camp back then, where we built it on off Chandler Boulevard, now it's busy. There's all kinds of stuff.
The highway going past and everything.
But when we built the camp there, it was fuck all out there. It was still desert. There was nothing out there, Dayton. There was nothing. There was nothing. And I hadn't lived there all my life, so I didn't know where anything was either. So we were all sort of out there in the middle of nowhere. And we had to put boxing rings together. We had to hang heavy bags. We had to, get the gym, physically ready to go. And the Thai guys, they fight good, they train good, and they're a lot of nice guys, but they're not big on work. They're not big on work.
Like it working like American style work, or where you go in, you get shit done, start building. Yeah, I know what you mean.
They're not big on that stuff, and it was hard because they didn't speak English so good. I didn't speak Thai so good. So we can't just say, hey, go over there and take that over there, hang it up and make sure it's level. You kind of stay with them on it, And then they would just stop in the middle of everything and go cook lunch. Fuck, we're not going to get anything done.
When you say, cook lunch, for anybody, I know what you mean, but, can you explain, when you say they, would you just show up and they would just all be, gone from doing their work and they'd just be, chopping up shit?
Well, it's like this. I'd have them all doing something, putting a boxing ring together, and I'd go take a piss and come back and they're gone. I go, where is everybody? I go back there in the kitchen. One of them's chopping up chicken. The other one's chopping up vegetables. And the other one's frying stuff up. The other guy's making the sticky rice. And I'll go, well, what are we doing? They go, Bobby, king cow. I go, no, we'll go get a hamburger. We'll get done. We'll eat. We'll go back to work.
Yeah.
So they kill the afternoon cooking. And, in retrospect, I understand, the food's good, but it takes time, and we only got so much work. We gotta get stuff done.
Gotta get the shit moving. Yeah, you need the gym open.
So, there's that kind of stuff going on. And so we finally get everything in place, and we're ready to open up the gym. And, right at the beginning, it's just us in the gym. We got no people. So we're starting to promote the gym. And I've been thinking about this, in the last week, getting ready to do this interview, is that, I think maybe the Fairtex camp concept that we put together was a little bit ahead of its time. If we were to open it up now, we'd kill.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. It's that was just literally, like you said, ahead of the time.
Yeah. So we'd kill. So the camp was still kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Phoenix hadn't expanded to the location, where the gym was. There was no internet. There was no, now everybody's got these phones in their pockets, and everybody's connected. It's easy.
You got digital advertising, digital marketing stuff.
Yeah, so I had to go print up trifold folders with pictures of the gym. So you couldn't make those up till everything was in place in the gym to come in and take pictures, So we got the trifolds done and we started mailing them out, so I would type up the envelopes and Boom Curd would lick the stamps and Saka Sam would lick the envelope and we'd be taking boxes of envelopes to the post office and mailing them out, and I think we took out an ad in Inside Kung Fu and Black Belt Magazine, if you remember reading those things.
Black Belt Magazine, they're online now.
Yeah.
On there. They actually follow us. I think they actually saw your last interview that we did, or like the podcast episode that we did on you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they interact with us in some of our stuff, because I think, I don't know, some of the people that have been on or something.
Interesting.
So it's still kind of around, but not in the same, like back then, that was the shit.
Yeah.
Right, that's like you're in there, every martial artist in the country
If you got in the magazine, it was like, whoa, you're a rock star.
Yeah.
So it was hard to promote things, and it was hard to promote things locally. So one of the things we would try in the Phoenix area, if there was some kind of martial art event, we would go to it and paper it, meaning we put flyers on people's cars. So we saw an ad for a Muay Thai fight, right? And so we're going, wow, there's a Muay Thai fight here in Phoenix. We got to go. So I don't even remember where it was, and I don't even know how we found it to begin with, but we went, and we went out in the parking lot, and we put flyers for the gym all over the parking lot and everybody's car, announcing us. And people had heard that we were opening up this gym. And then we walk in. So there's Ganyao, Bunkerd, myself, and Tim Schaefer.
What a motley crew, man.
Yeah. So, we all show up and we're in Fairtex gear, we're looking sharp. And we come into this place and they're doing a Muay Thai fight. And we walk in, everybody's seated, and we walked in a little late, and everybody just turned around and looked at us like, whoa, who are these guys? And we sat in the back, and made no noise. And we watched a couple of fights, and Boonker's looking at me going, this is Muay Thai. I go, America Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Saying Thailand
Yeah.
Muay Thai. And I guess it was amateur fights, and in retrospect, they are horrible. And it was not even Muay Thai. It was like kickboxing.
Yeah, they slapped the Muay Thai label on it, essentially.
Yeah, they just slapped the Muay Thai label on it. And so there was a gym in the northwest side of Phoenix that advertised doing Muay Thai. And one of the coaches there he's still around today.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're doing was terrible. It was just kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they added a leg kick. But they were still doing
snap kicks, snap chambers, and everything.
They just changed it from body to a leg kick.
You can also do it. It was low kick kickboxing. Yeah.
So we went and watched it, and Boonker goes, I want to fight. So I go up to the promoter, and I introduce myself, and I go, hey, my guy here will fight three of your main event guys. Because you can put one guy one round, another guy another round, another guy another round. He'll fight all three of them. And the guy sort of told me I was being an asshole. And I guess I was a little bit. And said, cool your jets, whatever. And we sat down, and they sort of became not friends of mine for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that same group is still anti-us,
Yeah.
And they're still kind of like latching on the Muay Thai, yet they're not Muay Thai, and they have no Muay Thai background. There's still a group of them here in Phoenix, doing their thing.
Part of the martial arts community, but not like in Muay Thai sense.
Yeah, not Muay Thai community. So they're still around, but they got really upset because we put all those flyers on their cars
at their show,
which I didn't think was like a bad thing because we did shit like that in Philly all the time. But out here they didn't appreciate it. So they got kind of upset. But we made our presence known. And it was kind of not such good fights.
Mm.
But from that gym, we pulled some guys.
Mm.
So we pulled some of their top guys. So Danny Brandt was in that group.
Danny Brandt, yeah, Dan's just
Jean-Claude Lier was in that group.
Yeah.
And we pulled some of those guys to come down to Fairtex. And then it was a matter of, getting this gym up and running, which was really hard. We started selling equipment, which was going, but it was still hard. It still wasn't as easy as you can do it today. So, we had to ship stuff. So we'd get an order on the phone, or someone would mail us an order, and then we'd have to confirm it, wrap it up, go to the FedEx place and drop it off. And back then they didn't have FedEx places like now where they got little stores all
everywhere. Yeah, you had to go to the warehouse.
Yeah, it was like one big place you'd go to. So it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. So it was a lot of hard work at the beginning at the camp there. Getting out equipment, trying to get new students in. We actually filmed a TV commercial, which did really well for us as far as bringing members in. And
when you say TV commercial, was it stuff that was like broadcast locally, or is it national, or what was it? Local. Yeah. People actually like saw it and came in from it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny if you could find it because Prem is in it as a little kid. Now he's a big time promoter and everything. Yeah. And he was like a little kid with his hands up with tie shorts on. And his sisters were all in it. It was a lot of the Philip Wong's family in it.
Yeah, well, that's a trip. I wonder if he has a copy of this somewhere.
But,
it's got to be somewhere.
It's got to be somewhere.
Yeah. If anybody's out there and you're hearing this, you work in media that was back, what year was this? 91?
93.
93? Yeah. Come forward, reach out.
Yeah, just remember that commercial.
That's a trip. Okay.
Yeah, so as I recall, the Wong kids were all in it. So it was Prem and his three sisters. I think Philip had a Thai restaurant in Mesa at the time. Some of the waitresses were in it.
Background stuff.
We're in there in the background, to make it work. And we finally got a group together, and we got some students, and we started going and doing some fights. And we became friends with Nick Blumgren in Las Vegas.
Nick One Kick.
Yeah. So he invited us to come out and do a demo at a show he was doing at the old Bailey's. And we went out there and we got lost driving there. It took us like 16 hours to drive there.
So speaking of, just to throw it out there, Nick's still promoting fights today.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yeah. It's like you talk about this, like you told me this before. I'm like, dude, he's been at it that long.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So at Bailey's, did he always have him at like these casinos? No, I've seen him go in and out of casinos.
So he was doing them at the Bailey's, which was kind of a neat, place.
Especially back then too.
Yeah. It was cool. And the boys would come out and they did an exhibition. I think it was Boomkurt and Saka Sam did like, technical sparring. Mm-hmm. And people just floored. Nobody had seen stuff like that before. So it did bring a lot of attention to us and we got seen. And then Nick was starting to do some fights, so we started bringing some guys out to Vegas to fight. And then Nick had a couple of guys who were fighting at a fairly high level, namely Lavelle Robinson. And he sent him out to us to train him. He was doing some K1 fights. And we started building up some fighters. And we had guys fighting out in Vegas, and we were cleaning up. People back then didn't have the concepts of training Muay Thai. They weren't doing heavy pad work. They weren't doing all the stuff we do.
Yeah.
People do, take for granted now. So we were walking through people. So there were some guys from California coming out, and most of them were still kickboxing guys.
Yeah, but they wanted to figure out what the hell was going on, right? Yeah. They're like, hey, what is this thing we're here?
Right, well, it's just kickboxing with leg kicks,
Yeah, we can do it.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot about the clinching part,
Oh, shouldn't.
And so, we started going out to Vegas and doing fights. And we started doing some fights at the Fairtex camp. So we would do pro-ams. So we got the boxing commission to approve amateur and professional Muay Thai back then. So the USMTA was sanctioning the events. The overall sanctioning. Mm-hmm. The boxing commission was approving it. He would let the guys fight with elbows if everybody wanted to. They were very open to all this new stuff. And we would do pro-ams, and we would get fighters from all over the country. And we'd fly them out, because flying was cheap back in those days. And we'd have them stay at the camp. Mm-hmm. So we would tell them to bring...
Yeah, place to stay, yeah.
So bring a sleeping bag, and we had big locker rooms with showers and everything, and everybody would stay at the camp. It was actually kind of a lot of fun. And they would fight, and we'd do pro fights and amateur fights. And we had a hotel, a motel, sort of 2 blocks down. So if we needed more rooms, or we put the pro guys in hotel rooms, the amateurs all stayed at the camp. And we would bring guys from all over the country, but they're mostly TBA guys, guys from the Thai Boxing Association, Chai students. because that's who I was affiliated with, and that's who my Rolodex was full of.
Yeah, and you were like talking about last time being at the Thai camp they had and like bringing out this whole blueprint of this camp.
Yeah. So at Chai's camp in Oregon, the second one, not the first one, the second one, we brought out blueprints of the camp and showed it to everybody, and they were all excited. And back then I had like a Rolodex. I actually had a Rolodex.
Actually, physical Rolodex.
Physical thing.
For anybody that doesn't know what that is, it's basically a tray that has like everybody's contact information, either your fax number back then, right? If you had a beeper, I don't know if beepers are on.
Before beepers.
Before beepers. So it was like fax, phone number, office, work, and their address.
And I I think things, I don't know, maybe better, maybe not. I don't know. But I used to have a little phone book that I carried with me when I traveled. And any city I went to, you knew guys in that city, and you could call them and say, hey, I'm at the airport, let's hook up, we'll go eat.
Yeah.
Now it's like, you just text everybody.
You just message them, hey, I'm in town.
Yeah. I don't know, it was a little different. I don't know whether worse, better, I don't know. But, you knew, but you had to physically,
book that you carry. Hey, who's in Las Vegas?
Right.
Oh, who's in Los Angeles?
So we started doing fights in Phoenix, and then we were fighting for Nick in Las Vegas, and we started doing shows, and it was going well. And then we had a promoter in Phoenix that was sort of a spin-off of that group that we went to when we put flyers in our cart. And they were doing, back then it was either kickboxing, international rules, or international, they would add leg kick, international rules.
Yeah, low kick, kickboxing.
Yeah, so we do some shows, a bunch of shows like that.
They're wearing the pants still?
No.
They had shorts.
Maybe somebody was wearing pants, but they were starting to wear shorts. And so it was starting to kind of grow, But I think bringing the pro fights in, so we would bring a team from England in to fight Bunkerd and Saka Sam, and then we'd bring some guys I think we brought some guys from Ireland in to fight. And they were the same guys they had brought from Philadelphia too. So,
and that connection was from the USMTA,
which was the British Thai Boxing Council back then. And then we would bring some guys from California. There were some guys from California came out, got beat so bad. I felt bad for these guys. I saw some guy just get his leg so beat up. They just didn't understand the concept of the leg kick. A real leg kick. They just didn't understand it. I saw a couple of guys just get squished. Bunkerd just, if you never got to see Bunkerd really fight, Bunkerd, everybody knows Bunkerd. I love Bunkerd. He's my buddy.
He's like nice animated guy. You wouldn't know. Huh?
Sweetest guy in the world until he gets in the ring. And then he changes. And I've seen him do stuff to people that was just mean, Like
what?
He'd put a guy up against the ropes and hit him with combinations and stuff, and the guy would be up against the ropes, about ready to get knocked out. And then Bunkerd back off. Let the guy live again. And then he'd do it to him again.
Oh, kind of like that impending doom kind of moment. Yeah.
And then he'd back off, And then like the third time, he'd sort of fake backing off and go back and finish you. I've seen him actually do the step on his leg and knee you in the head thing.
Oh, no. In a fight?
I saw him do it. And I saw him do it in Pathia. He did it. Yeah. But he would do this thing where he was like a lion or a tiger playing with his food. I'm not going to kill you yet. Maybe next time. And then he'd come in and batter you again, back off. Batter you again, back off. Batter you again. Just lean away a little bit so you felt like he backed off again, and you'd go, I can breathe.
And boom.
Boom. Come back in and just crush you. And he would change. When he came to corners, he was like possessed. It was like scary, And then as soon as it was over, a big smile on his face, and
we're all friends again.
Yeah, it's all great. I saw him knock a guy out. He did a boxing fight here. And we kind of knew the guy. We had trained with him a little bit. It was a boxing fight. We both getting paid. And he knocked the guy out and caught him before he hit the mat.
No shit. Like, so you like, what did he hit him with, like a hook or something? And just going down?
I don't remember what he hit him with, but he hit him. In fact, I told Boone Kerr in the corner, you're losing the fight because he wasn't being aggressive enough. So he went back in, knocked the guy out, and then he caught him before he hit the ground and held him and slowly put him down. The referee kind of grabbed him and helped him put him down.
Yeah.
But he wasn't going to let his friend hit the ground.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, he was...
that talks about class right there. It's different.
Nah, Boone Kerr, it's just too bad there was no... the video stuff, that we have today, you didn't have when he used to fight. Because he would, you come back in the corner and say, hey, you got to go knock this guy out this round. He'd go, okay. And you just go do it. Boone Kerr, you're not doing enough.
It's such a trip because I met him, like, I knew who he was, but I didn't know, like, this kind of stuff about him. Like, I knew he was a badass fighter, but you don't hear about these stories unless like you're listening to hear to this episode or watching, or have met you and hear you talk about it or somebody else that was there.
Boone Kerr was so impressive. So impressive. And Saka Sam, God bless him, Saka Sam didn't have the beauty that Boone Kerr had, but he used to hurt some guys. He had a body punch. He used to punch guys. That's what we used to call him, Dr. Punch. So Saka Sam did a fight in Rajadam Stadium right before we left to fly to America, and I worked his corner. So he had the guy in the corner. He had a guy up against the ropes, and he hit him in the body, liver shot, really, really hard. And then he went to the body, and he went to the head for a hook to the head, and the guy sort of swayed back on the hook, and Sam missed with the hook and then hit him with a reverse elbow so hard that we all thought he killed the guy.
Reverse elbow was like a swing back elbow, or like
swinging back elbow.
Yeah,
missed with the hook
and just stepped through
and reversed, and he hit him so hard, it sounded like wood hitting
like a baseball bat, like
baseball bat hitting something,
Yeah,
and back then, they didn't really have doctors and shit at the stadiums. So
a stretcher to bring you out to get the next fight in.
So much.
No.
So I worked a lot of Fairtex guys' corners because if they got hurt or knocked down, I could put them on my back, walk them down the stairs, and they didn't have to get carried out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam hit this guy so hard, we all thought he killed the guy because the guy fell flat on his face and hit the mat and didn't move. And the guy's corners were all in the ring before the referee even waved it off.
Yeah.
We went in the corner. We were all near trying to help him, wake him up, and bring him up. And I don't remember any doctors coming in, and I think the stretcher came in to carry him out, and I didn't ever see him again. But they didn't have, like, doctors there.
And at Rotterdam Stadium, how was it then? Was it like more open air, or was it closed off at that point?
That was always closed. It had air conditioning.
Yeah.
It was Lumpini that was open air.
Got it. Yeah, and I do know that, but I know like older pictures. I know there was a time where it was open up above the stadium seating too, I believe.
Yeah, no, every time when I was there, it was already air conditioned.
Cool.
And that's why we like going there.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like a hot shed.
Lumpini was hot and sticky. It was
overflowing urinals and all that shit. Yeah, you're warming up.
It was cool, but it was they didn't have chairs set up. If you wanted ringside seats, they would bring one out for you. Would set it up.
Yeah,
so it was kind of interesting. And I saw some great fights there. I saw Coban knock out
Raymond Decker. Yeah,
right in the corner where I was sitting.
Oh shit.
And then Coban's out here later, so it was kind of great. But to get back to the camp, so we're up and running. Things are going good. We started to get some students. We had some amateur fighters doing really good. We went on shows, pretty good. We did a big show at the Arizona Convention Center. And we had Jean-Claude Lier, Lavelle Robinson, Saka Sam, Boone Kerr, all main events doing big titles. Which was a really big show. It was and did really well. And I still have a poster of it somewhere. I've posted it on the internet a couple times. And that camp's doing okay. All right. You know, and back in the 90s, martial arts schools, not like today. I mean, I got a little gym. I got like 250 members. You know, martial arts schools didn't have big numbers like that.
Yeah, like 50, 60, right?
Yeah.
That was big.
That was big.
Yeah.
You know, my gym in Philadelphia for a while had 600 members, which was interesting again because we taught like 6 martial arts there. And it was a fitness center, so you could get all that in one package.
Yeah.
So it was a little ahead of its time. And it was Philadelphia. There's 1 million people there. But overall, schools didn't have the big numbers that they have today. I mean, even my school, my gym, 250 floating around there. You know, I know guys here in town have 300 members. Jiu-jitsu schools have 300 members. You didn't have that back in the 90s. You know, that's
didn't really exist back then. The market wasn't there.
No, it just wasn't there. You know, not like it is today. So, like I said, if we had opened up this Fairtex camp now, you know, it would be blowing up.
Yeah,
We'd drain everybody's gym. You know, but it was doing good. It was doing good. And then Philip and I had a little bit of a falling out, and we had to part ways. I mean, you know, shit like that happens.
yeah, part of business. Yeah,
You know, it happens. And all of a sudden, the same time when Philip and I are going through this little divorce, and, you know, and I'm living at the camp, so I got to move out of the camp, and, you know, I'm leaving.
if you got a living situation, all that.
Yeah. So at the same time that's happening, I start having hip problems. Okay. So I'm going to the doctor for my hip and find out I have degenerative hip disease on both sides. So both my hips are going out. And the doctor told me, this woman doctor told me, look, you know, here's a bottle of pain pills, buy a cane and go sit on the couch.
Fuck.
You know, and I'm going through a little bit of depression over, you know, did I kill myself doing Thai boxing for this amount of time, and now I got nothing.
Yeah, you're not gonna be at the camp anymore and stuff.
You know, and I'm out of the camp, and I'm having pain just walking now, and so I'm getting a little depressed. You know, going through all this shit, and I ended up going through a divorce. You know, and I had to finish going to Philadelphia, my kidnapping charges and everything. You know, so
Were you having to go back there to Philadelphia for court and everything?
I did. I think 3 times. You know,
well, with the camp running and everything.
with the camp running and everything. You know. So there was a lot going on, and then Philip and I part ways, and so I'm a little, you know, depressed, a little bitter, and
The camp was still running for a little bit, a while after
running
that,
for a
right?
little bit.
Yeah.
And I sort of disappeared. And I got to say for Ajahn Chai, you know, Chai Sirsut, you know, he came down into, we sort of got disconnected and we weren't communicating anymore. And Ajahn Chai and I were very close for years. And I disappeared and nobody heard from me. And he was a bit upset. And, you know, he knew what he heard from Philip. And I think he came out and did a seminar at the camp, actually looking for me. And Chai had come through for me in the past a couple of times when I got divorced the first time in Philadelphia. Him and both Francis Fong checked up on me and made sure I was okay. And did I need anything? You know, you want to
come hang out with me, live with me for a bit.
Yeah, you know, what do you need? And they were, you know, very, very kind to me. And so I think Chai came out and did the seminar at the Fairtex camp, kind of looking for me. And but I wasn't to be found. So I actually went into the laundromat business. I think at one point in time here, I owned 5 laundromats.
Shit.
Yeah, you know.
And I just had Tiago on here, and he was talking about, did you know he owned an ice cream truck?
No.
Tiago from City Gym, his first business was an ice cream truck business, which makes sense out in Arizona. That shit sells. People need to do laundry.
They do.
Yeah, so how many laundromats did you end up at?
I think I owned at one time 5.
Shit.
And they were all around the ASU area, you know, so. You know, it was all
Popular for the university.
Yeah, because there were a lot of rented homes and stuff. So, but at the same time, some of my students from Fairtex were out teaching in some places, started doing some classes.
Doing their own little program.
And MMA was starting to pick up, so some of them were teaching in MMA gyms.
Because this was like early 90s, UFC, right? It started blowing up.
Yeah.
And
the MMA scene in Arizona started to blow up. So Edwin Dweez actually opened up a little gym in Tempe. And one of my guys, Mr. Chino, was in there teaching. So I'd go in every now and then and help, you know. I wasn't 100% there, but I would go in once in a while.
Still dealing with your hips too, yeah?
My hips were hurting. It hurt to walk. And I changed doctors. And this doctor was an athlete, was a marathon cyclist. He said, well, look, you need to get new hips, but you're too young to get them yet. He goes, just do whatever the fuck you want to do. And when the pain gets too bad and you can't handle it anymore, we'll swap you out. So I started kayaking. So, you know, the water's nice and I needed something to do. And I started doing whitewater kayaking. And I started doing, you know, class 3, class 4, because I guess I'm sort of competitive in nature. So, you know,
fill that void.
So I'm like killing people on water and trying to kill myself on rivers. And found another style of kayaking, which is surf skis, which are these really long ocean racing boats. But they were something that I could go out on the lakes here and do by myself. Whitewater, you got to have a group of people. You gotta work as a team. So the surf ski, I could go out on the lakes that we have here and put in some miles and get that kind of cardio in and endurance work, even though I couldn't walk very good.
Yeah.
In fact, my right foot at one point was turned out almost 45 degrees. Should have seen when they
from your hips.
Should have seen when they took me skiing. Okay.
Oh, shit.
That was bad. But so I started surf ski paddling, and I still do it now. In fact, we just got 5 miles this morning.
Yeah, I just snapped a picture of you with your surf ski.
So I still do it today. And I did some races out in California for a while, and I started doing that. But we started doing some more martial arts, Thai boxing in people's gyms a little bit, and started like, you know, the guy in The Sopranos, you know, they pulled me back in, you know. And
like, we need you. Yeah.
So I got involved with this gym, Absolute Martial Arts. They kind of talked me into coming in and helping out. And I was literally sitting on a stool most of the time teaching because I couldn't really walk or stand. So we started doing that. And MMA in Arizona started to go crazy. It was unregulated, and they were doing all this crazy stuff.
That no holds barred fighting, essentially, what it was, right?
It was. If it wasn't professional, the state didn't get involved with it at that time. So we started training some guys to do MMA. So I was actually coaching more MMA guys than Thai boxing guys. And for a while, there was really no Thai boxing going on. And I started coaching some MMA guys. And it was easy because they're not very good, and they don't have to be very good.
No, they said make them a little bit better than the other guy.
Make them a little bit better than the other guy. Putting them on Thai pads even made them stronger and their cardio better and everything. And we started doing that, and then I started getting involved with Mark Kerr.
The Smashing Machine.
Yeah. Rico Rodriguez. And was a little bit of Mark Coleman in there. Yeah. There was a little Tito in there. And there was a little Frank Shamrock.
Two Ortiz, Frank Shamrock. These are like I guess you could say it's like the golden era of MMA.
I think so.
Yeah, like, because it's like where it was really booming, it was really raw. Because they're like Mark Kerr, they have his documentary, The Smashing Machine. For anybody that's watching or listening, I highly encourage you to go check it out as a martial arts person, just to like see kind of how it was. Because they were doing bare knuckle fighting and stuff like that, where you could like pull the guy's hair, you could hit him in the groin, you can stop and kick him in the head and stuff.
Mark was headbutting guys.
Yeah.
But they, and they're making a movie right now of Mark Kerr.
Yeah. Dwayne Johnson's playing Mark Kerr.
Yeah. So I thought, you know, just for me, that Mimosa guy that plays Aquaman should be playing me. All right, because that's how I identify.
You heard it. They probably did the casting, but hey, there's still time, man.
But there was other suggestions that Danny DeVito plays me in film. So maybe better than other happened.
Yeah.
But I started working with those guys, and I started going to Pride with them and training them up for Pride fights. And I had a little gym I opened up in Chandler called Back Alley Camp. So it was like a commercial 2-car garage that we completely redid, and it was on it. It was in an alley. You had to drive down the alley to get there.
That's why back alley camp.
Yeah, it was next door to a taco place.
Ooh.
Across from Chandler High School, and in front of us, our landlord, they were gypsies. They did fortune telling. It's like one of those houses that say we tell
fortune here. Yeah.
Right? So that was our landlord. So they were in front of the gym. So you had to know who we are to find us.
Yeah.
So at one point in time, I got a picture somewhere of Mark Kerr, Rico Rodriguez, Frank Shamrock, Tito Ortiz, all in the gym at the same time training.
And this is back, like you said, Pride Championship.
Yeah, this was during
that was back in Japan. For those that don't know, that maybe don't follow MMA, that was on like Fox Sports Network, and it was huge. That was a big deal.
It was huge, but you didn't. It was like the UFC. You didn't find it everywhere. Every now and then you had a bootleg it, or it would come up. It was a little undergroundish.
Mm-hmm.
It would be on a cable station somewhere, but it wasn't all the time.
Yeah, it wasn't mainstream.
But you were hearing about it, and they were huge shows in Japan. I mean, we did one in Tokyo.
Saitama Arena or something like that.
Some big arena, like 80,000 people in there. It was crazy. But I went out with Mark and Rico for 3 or 4 fights with those guys, and started getting busy with them. And there were a couple of UFC guys that would like float in and out. I can't remember everybody's names. But I was also working with Zane Frazier, and there were a lot of huge guys, which finished off my shoulders for holding pads.
Yeah, you see, fucking, your left shoulder's done.
There is no left shoulder.
Yeah.
So, and I rarely wear tank tops because I don't like the way my shoulder looks.
That's just somebody who's been using their body the whole life, man, to make a living.
Yeah. So, we were doing Pride, and we're doing a couple of UFCs, early UFCs, and I started getting back into it, and we opened up the back alley camp, and, we were training guys there, and it was going well, and there was still not much Muay Thai going on in Arizona yet. So we kept plugging along, and like most gyms kind of rise and they fall, and they rise and they fall. And I had a woman fighter that was doing some Thai boxing, and there was no girls for her to fight. So we switched over to boxing. And Mark Kerr and those guys had all kind of moved on to doing something else, or they moved, or I don't remember what happened.
Mm.
So I actually shut down that little back alley camp and was just focusing on this woman's boxing for a while. And we moved into a boxing gym.
Just training there.
Typical
boxing gym fashion.
Well, you kind of had to. If you're going to box, you got to be in a boxing gym.
Yeah. Need sparring partners, need other coaches there.
You need to be in the boxing circles. So we started doing that. And we won a couple world titles, I think 3 world titles. We fought some big name women, won some great titles, fought in Holland. We fought all over the place.
Who's this?
Who we fought in Holland?
Yeah.
We fought Lucille Riker in Holland.
That's a big name too. Also kickboxer, right?
She was a Thai boxer.
Yeah.
She was badass.
Yeah. She fought against a dude. Yeah.
And we fought her.
Didn't win, but she fought against. She was like, I'm gonna fight a guy.
And it was kind of funny thing is how things go around. We fought her in Holland on a Showtime fight, right? And it was a great show, and it was right before her movie came out. What was the name of that movie she made with Clint Eastwood?
No idea.
Oh no! Come on. She plays like the evil boxer, and the girl hits her head on the.
Oh, she was in that. It's $1 Million Baby.
$1 Million Baby.
Okay, I didn't know that was Lucia Riker though.
Yeah,
okay.
Lucia Riker. So that we fought her about a month before that movie broke out, and we did that, and that was great, and that was my girl's last fight.
Mm-hmm.
She fought with a bad ACL. I think that was pretty much her last fight. So, it becomes an issue now of money and time and what are you making at these fights.
Yeah, we were just talking about this before about like fighters now. It's like Glory was doing some good stuff where he's making good pay for people, and then now it's like, hey, now you're going back to, it's like, the dollar figures we're talking about when it comes into compared to focusing on business and coaching, private lessons, personal training, it's peanuts compared to that. When you're and then on top of it, your brain, your livelihood,
getting hit in the head all the time.
You're getting fucked up. Yeah, it's like this is at what point does it actually serve you anymore, right?
So after that fight, I sort of stepped back from the fight business again, and it's kind of like there's a sport you love, but it doesn't love you back.
Someone said there was a UFC fighter. He has had like a quote.
Few people have said that.
Yeah, he had one. He's all. It's like a girl from the streets. It's like a hood rat. No matter how she love her, she's never gonna love you back.
So I stepped back, and I was worried about my own future, and I went back to school, and I was going to get a degree in radiology and become a radiology technician,
cook, fighter.
Next career
radiologist.
So I went back to school, and school was weird for me because I'm a little older now than everybody, and I'm really not that smart, I'm dyslexic, and, I'm not really that smart. So some of the medical terminology class was just not happening for me.
That's a lot of reading to have to deal with that on top of it.
Algebra, I tried to explain to my algebra instructor that when I went to school, algebra hadn't been invented yet, and that didn't work. The English and stuff was okay because I was able to date my English instructor.
So you get a little passing grade.
My teacher. I had another math teacher that, I'd get him tickets for fights and stuff, because I was still going and doing some pride shows with these guys. And but the school thing really wasn't working for me, and, kind of luckily one of my students was starting a sports supplement business. So I started working with him, and we started a Nitro line of sports supplements, which became the first big sponsor of the UFC.
What was it called?
Nitro Sports.
Nitro
Chandler Scott's Nitro.
Okay.
So we were before.
I'm sure I could find an image of it somewhere on like the UFC canvas.
Right? Dana White made everybody wear polo shirts that said Nitro Sports on it and all this stuff.
So I didn't know that.
There was some controversy involved with that because we had another guy in Vegas who was part of our company who tried stealing it all from us and stuff. So it was some more drama going on. But in the interim, when I'm working for the supplement company, I was starting to teach again.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I started teaching for Roland Serrera at his gym in Tempe. And he was putting on Rage in the Cage, which was an MMA show here in Arizona that really went on for a long time. So he said, Bob, let's try and do a Muay Thai fight. Okay, that's not what he said. He said, let's do a Muay Thai fight, because he could never say Muay Thai.
So what did he say? Muay Thai?
He says Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So we started putting on all the Rage in the Cage shows, 1 or 2 Muay Thai fights. Okay. And
in a cage?
In the cage.
Yeah.
Okay. So the crowd would go crazy for him. So we started a whole show adjacent to Rage in the Cage. So I think it was called Rage in the Ring at first. And we started doing Muay Thai shows. Okay. So they were USMTA sanctioned. And we started putting on good fights. So like Tiago was one of the original gyms that did those first 1 or 2 fights. And we started doing these little shows that were sort of Rage in the Cage shows. So sometimes we do 6 or 7 MMA fights, and then we do 4 Muay Thai fights.
Yeah.
And then we started a whole separate show, just Muay Thai. Okay. And it started doing good. And I really wasn't teaching anywhere regular. I would stop in some gyms and work a little bit, but nothing really solid. And then Edwin Dweebs called me, who was a big, Rage in the Cage champ. And he goes, we're getting ready to open up this new gym. The owners wanted me to dig up a Muay Thai guy for the gym. I want you in there. So this was the beginning of the Lions Den.
The Lions Den. Yeah, for those that don't know, it was that, like, is it Frank Shamrock?
Ken
Shamrock was in there, right?
So they had one in Reno, which was the original one. Then they had the one they opened up here in Arizona. And then I think there was one back east somewhere. Okay. So we getting ready to open up this gym. So I do a deal with the two owners. They hire me, and the gym is being built out. It's going to be in Scottsdale on McKellips and Hayden. And we're training in some guys, one of the owners' garages in Scottsdale where he keeps all his cars and stuff. And it's an MMA gym. We got Muay Thai, we got boxing, we got jiu-jitsu, we got MMA. So they're teaching all this stuff in there. So they're building out this facility in Scottsdale, and we start selling memberships. So this is like 2006, okay? So on weekends, we would open up this facility during construction and start selling memberships, okay? And these guys were really good, and business was good. And we signed up. We opened up the Lions Den in Scottsdale with 800 members.
Whoa.
Opened the door.
Whoa. So
800 members.
where it used to be 60, now 20 years later,
Boom.
it's huge, right?
Huge.
Yeah.
My beginner class had 65 people in it.
Was it just you that was running it?
No.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
I had some help helping.
Yeah, thank God.
Some of my older guys who had been with me for a while. So it would be like 4 or 5 of us teaching class
Yeah.
at the same time. So at the same time, they were also doing all this big MMA stuff. So they started this MMA team that you had to try out for, and they had this whole big thing with Ken Shamrock being there. And they had to try out, and they had this whole big promotion.
It was a big deal. I remember hearing about it in California. Yeah. I remember
it was a big deal. So we got a program up and running. So in my gym at the time, like Danny Brandt was one of my coaches that was in the team. We started training guys. So this is where Nick Chastain and Damian Early
first came in, yeah.
Adrian, we had all these, this is big gym going on.
Big team, massive, massive operation.
Massive team. In fact, we went to the TBA with, I think, 14 guys.
The TBSA, which is going on right now.
It's going on right now.
Yeah.
And I think it was 2006.
So
I'd have to check. But we came home with like 14.
That was like their third or fourth year doing it, right?
Somewhere right there, yeah. So we came home with 14 or 12, 18, championship belts. I mean, everybody won. We walked through with everybody. Because we had been fighting with no shin pads and stuff on. You go, a tournament with shin pads.
Shin pads, headgear, yeah.
It's just
hard sparring.
Yeah, it's just hard sparring. So at the same time, we started developing the shows. Okay. So this is about the time you were fighting.
Yeah, because I think I first saw you guys, I think it was 2010 when Nick One Kick was doing shows at the basketball stadium. Like Sakusen was there.
Right.
I think Nick fought one of Mark Beecher's guys.
Right.
Was out there. Nate Chambers, I think is who it was.
Nick Chambers.
Yeah, I fought somebody who was like 15 pounds heavier than me because my opponent didn't show up.
And he got away with shit like that.
Yeah, he could do it. I won. That shit was crazy, though. You couldn't do that anymore. But that's when I first met Bob Karmel.
So we were doing shows, and I think it was called Rage in the Ring with Roland. And we were doing shows in weird places. We did shows at some fairgrounds, and we did some shows at bars. But it was really growing.
Yeah.
So the Lions Den was huge because I knew I used to sell $15,000 worth of tickets just in the gym myself.
Yeah.
So we started doing shows in Celebrity Theater. Okay. So Celebrity Theater sits like 2,400 people. And I think we were selling that out. We were also got approved to do elbows. We were also allowed to use liniment. We were also taking shin pads off. So you're coming out with just elbow pads. So everybody was coming out here to fight from California. So we had guys from California coming in here to fight. Everybody was coming out here.
Because at that time in California for amateur, they couldn't fight with the elbow pads. They couldn't do elbows. It was just, it was like punch, kick, and then you could clinch, but you couldn't practice. You couldn't use elbows.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were doing these shows, and everybody was blowing up. So as an old guy now, when I look back at all this stuff, so gyms blow up, gyms fall apart, go up, they go down.
That's business. Yeah.
Well, it's not so much business, but everything's a short life.
Yeah.
I've seen so many guys already retire. Who were like, I remember when they just started, and now they're retired.
Yeah.
So everybody has a shelf life. Sorry to say.
It's true.
But, for me personally, the Lion's Den was like my strongest point physically. Even though I still had hip problems and shit and everything. But I didn't care. I just pushed through everything. But, that's when I had my strongest team. That was my strongest group of guys. So, we were killing it, and we were having fights and selling out that place. And we would have...
And you guys are going out to Toddy's in Vegas and stuff, too.
We're going out...
I fought against you guys, Sean, and Dave Brandt was cornering. And I didn't
at the same time, we were putting on these big shows. Jason Andrada was working for Toddy.
Yeah.
And they were putting on these little smoker things, which I think...
Is Rising Stars.
Which I think would be illegal now, maybe.
Yeah. But back then, it was just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but he would do one every month, and you could go out there and get fights every month. And we would be going out there for fights, and then we were doing these, raging the ring fights. And they were all doing great numbers, and we were getting a lot of fights in. And it was going great. It was probably, even though I think this year, 2024, is actually our best year overall for fights in the state of Arizona ever. But those fights were huge.
Yeah. Different. Huge. Yeah, especially for that time, yeah?
They were huge. We would have guys from Oakland down, guys from San Francisco. Everybody was coming here to fight because you couldn't fight in California.
Yeah.
So it was big name coaches, guys who were now pros, guys who were amateurs, became pros and have retired. Yeah. So, if I was not so old and feeble, I would remember more names.
Yeah, there's quite a bit because I have a lot of friends who are fighting out here that I think fought against Damien Nick. They fought against you had you had a fighter Josh Pickethall.
Yeah,
he fought against the monk Yilong.
Yeah,
knocked him out.
I had two guys knock the one guy.
Knock out Yilong the monk. The one that fought. It's funny because I remember when they were building up him to fight Wakao. Like, this guy's been knocked out by two amateurs in the U.S.
Yeah, so
let's
had Bukal lose.
Yeah, right.
Sure, he got a bonus.
So let's go just to wrap it up. Like, we look at Muay Thai now in the state of Arizona, the Southwest region, really, to from back then, the development of the coaches, the programs, the market. You've seen it's gotten bigger or it improved? Yeah,
everything is so great now. If in 1988 to what we have now is just massive. It's just massive. First off, the numbers of people doing this stuff now. There's more people in the world doing martial arts now than ever in the history of the world. Okay. And in Arizona, and there was an FBI report that came out and said there's more per capita trained martial art people floating around Arizona than any other state in the United States.
No shit. Well, okay, now this is making more sense now about everything here. Well, I add +1 right here.
Because there's so many gyms here, so many people here.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's got a concealed weapon in their hands here. Everybody knows how to do a little something. But for right now, it's the best it's ever been. Right now in the state of Arizona, first off, we have a quality show every month. Okay, quality show. All right. And when I say quality show, it's the promotion, the because of the internet, the flyers that are going out, matchmaking,
because now you're getting more higher level amateur matches, right? It's not somebody who's higher level versus somebody who's
right.
Yeah,
we're just trying to get a fight together.
Yeah,
so we're getting quality matches, and the guys are doing better and better shows, and it's a beautiful thing. And now all the promoters here in Arizona are working together.
Yeah.
So we went through a period of time where we're all going, fuck you, I'm doing one next week. You want to do one the week before? I don't care.
Yeah, it sucks to be you. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks to be you. My show's first.
I'll try to get your matches on my show. Yeah.
So now they're all working with each other. So we got one guy's show on on 1 month, the other guy's the next month. So you can actually go show to show. They're all about 6 weeks apart. So you can do multiple shows, okay? The judging is way better than it's ever been. It's just growing, getting better. The matchmaking is getting better by the coaches, and of course, USMT oversees the matchmaking, approves all the matches, but they've been coming better and better.
Yeah, you don't have to check them as much. Like where you have to, hey, dude, what the hell is this?
Yeah, we got a guy 11-0 with a guy that's got no fights.
Yeah.
So the matchmaking's better. So we're getting better fights. We're getting less injuries, right? The venues are better. The crowds are better. They're more educated. They all know what's going on. It's so good now. Okay. Of course, it could always be better. We've got pro shows. I mean, we actually have 2 pro shows, 2 pro shows going on in Arizona now. So we got 2 more pro shows going on this month. California's got about 4 or 6 pro shows going on. So, people are crying there's no pro shows. There are pro shows.
Yeah.
And the state of the sport is just better than it's ever. Look, we're sitting here on Sunday doing this stupid podcast talking about Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Nobody else did that before.
No, I never would have done this before. No, this is, you told me when I first met you that, you're going to be hanging out in a room with this guy in Scottsdale, Arizona in 2024. Yeah. No, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Talking about the history of the sport and how it developed. No, there's equipment everywhere. You can buy equipment.
Online, ships direct to your door. You don't need to go. There's probably a Thai guy somewhere doing it, but they have a DHL guy that comes over on his little tuk-tuk, brings it, ships it. You get it in 3 days from Thailand. It's crazy.
And the gyms are all busy. I know Fabio's gym's got a ton of people. Citan's got 1 million people. Vin's got 1 million people. Gyms are all big now.
People know what Muay Thai is.
You used to not be able to put Muay Thai on your window. You got to say kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so, Bob, until next time, man. Thanks for coming in.
Good talking to you.
All right. That's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in today to the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast. If you enjoy the content, go leave a review over on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Give us a rating. It means the world to us. Also, if you want to be a guest on the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast, or if you just want to shout out to your friend, go check us out at podcast.pu'umuaythai.com. You can submit to be able to be a guest on the podcast. You can submit what you want to talk about. Also, if you want to just give a shout out, there's a button for that too. Sawadee Kop.